This first traitor, as shown in Ezekiel and Isaiah, fell from the heavenly host for transgression against God, and is thrown to earth or to Sheol, which is a Hebrew term referring to the realm of the dead. So we have Satan being thrown down from the divine council, but no other angelic beings. The rest of the divine council seems to remain intact until some more rebels fail their next assignment. This divine transgression is what causes the great flood of Noah. Genesis 6, verse 1. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide with man forever, for he is flesh, so his days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men and bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. So again we hear about the sons of God. As we established earlier, the sons of God were present when the foundations of the earth was being laid, so they are not people, but divine beings. There is a popular view of Genesis 6 that reads it as non-supernatural, saying that the sons of God are just the sons of Adam. I won't spend time refuting that view, so if you want more info, again check out the Unseen Realm companion site. For now, like I said, when we see examples of the sons of God in the Old Testament, it is almost always referring to divine beings who were around before humanity. This story is explained in more detail in apocryphal texts like the Book of Enoch. It's important to note that Enoch is not scripture, nor should it be, but that it was a book written by Jews before the time of the New Testament that reflects their spiritual worldview. The book is quoted in both Jude and 2 Peter. In this instance, the group of angels or divine beings, referred to as watchers, find human women attractive, commit sexual sin with them, which results in crossbreed divine and human creatures being born, called Nephilim, and the Nephilim were giants. Again, this is another group that we'll talk more about in a future video, where for now we are focusing on the divine beings or angels. In this instance, the first group of angels that fell after Satan are these watchers, who are punished for their crimes by being imprisoned. See Enoch, 2 Peter, and Jude. I keep going back and forth between calling them divine beings and angels, so I want to make a quick note on that terminology. Divine beings is perhaps the most accurate, but in the modern context we have referred to them as angels and fallen angels for so long that it gets used much more. The word angel comes from the Greek angelos, which just means messenger. In the Old Testament, the term messenger is used to refer to the divine beings semi-frequently, though perhaps less so than things like sons of God, gods, or stars. The New Testament more frequently calls them angels or messengers, which has stuck. The second fall of the angels, which becomes sort of more important for the New Testament context, occurs at the Tower of Babel. After the flood, humanity rebuilds and eventually tries to create something called a ziggurat, which is an ancient structure built towards the heavens with the intent of having the human and divine intersect. Importantly, the tower was probably constructed with influence from the Nephilim, like Nimrod. Some Nephilim either survived the flood or more were created by later fallen angels. We know with some certainty later on that giants like the Anakim and Rephaim in Deuteronomy, Joshua, and 1 and 2 Samuel are giants descended from the Nephilim. There is some disagreement about whether Nimrod is a Nephilim, but the scripture seems to suggest so. He is called a mighty man, using the exact same Hebrew word that refers to the mighty men in Genesis 6 for the Nephilim, very shortly after. In any event, Babel is pictured as a corrupt city that once again warrants God's interference. At the construction of the tower, God gives humanity different languages and then scatters them across the world. In Genesis, that's all there is to it, but in Deuteronomy 32, we get more information. Verse 7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and he will show you, your elders and they will tell you. When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples according to the number of the sons of God. But Yahweh's portion is his people, Jacob his allotted heritage. So when God divided mankind, he fixed their borders according to the number of the sons of God. As a note, some English translations will put according to the number of the sons of Israel. But to generalize, the oldest manuscripts read sons of God. Sons of Israel would make little sense because the sons of Israel did not exist at the time of the Babel event. So what does it mean to fix the borders according to the sons of God? Well, it seems that God is giving the other angels their own kingdoms of men to rule over, and then choosing one kingdom, which would be Israel, for himself. He's essentially disinheriting the rest of the nations and saying, I'm going to work through just this one. We know this is the case because God chooses to act through Abraham and make his descendants into his remnant nation, instead of working through the other nations. This idea becomes one of divine allotment and cosmic geography. We see this later in many places in the Old Testament, the idea that Israel and its kingdom belong to God, and the other nations have their own divine rulers. This is very notable in Daniel. Let's look at Daniel 10. Verse 10. And behold, a hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees. And he said to me, O Daniel, man greatly loved, understand the words that I speak to you, and stand upright, for now I have been sent to you. And when he had spoken this word to me, I stood up trembling. Then he said to me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself before God, your words have been heard, and I have come because of your words. The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me for 21 days, but Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I was left there with the kings of Persia, and came to make you understand what is to happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision is for days yet to come. Verse 18. Again, one having the appearance of a man touched me and strengthened me, and he said, O man greatly loved, fear not, peace be with you, be strong and of good courage. And as he spoke to me, I was strengthened and said, Let my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me. Then he said, Do you know why I have come to you? But now I will return to fight against the prince of Persia, and when I go out, behold, the prince of Greece will come. But I will tell you what is inscribed in the book of truth. There is none who contends by my side against these princes except Michael, your prince. Here, we have princes with dominions over different regions, and the divine being speaking to Daniel is fighting against those princes. Princes of Persia and Greece in this instance, and then Michael, who seems to be the prince of Israel. In Acts 17, Paul also alludes to this cosmic geography. Verse 26, And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him. Yet he is actually not far from each of us. In the Daniel section, the Greek translations of Daniel translate princes as archonton, or archon, from the Greek root arche, meaning before, first, or principal. The same root is used by Paul when he refers to divine beings as principalities in his letters. Along with principalities, Paul also calls them powers, authorities, dominions, and thrones, rulers of the age, rulers in heavenly places, and he calls Satan the ruler of the power of the air, or the prince of the power of the air. All of these words express geographical rule. Let's recap. When God created the world, there was a divine council by his side. It could be them to whom he speaks when he says, Let us make man in our image, or Come, let us confuse their languages. The Bible shows us clearly that this divine council dwelt in the heavens with God under his authority. When God creates man, one of these beings is corrupted by his own pride, tempts Eve and succeeds, and is possibly cast out. Afterwards, more divine beings fall to temptations, first toward the daughters of men, and then when they are given authority over the nations, it seems that they take that authority for themselves, allowing sin in their nations, as God rebukes these members of the council in Psalm 82. God then gives himself a nation, Israel, and uses it to do his will on earth, pitting him in a cosmic battle against the false rulers and authorities of the other geographies. This would be very important in understanding the spiritual world today, and the spiritual world in the time of Christ, and how Christ's coming affected this rulership.